They came here, they had the capacity to conquer Malaysia, but they didn't. Those of them who came here to settle down here adopted the culture and the language of the people here. The Chinese who came here in the early years dropped their own language and began to use the Malay language, and they adopted the Malay culture, although they did not become Muslims. I suspect that a few of them, of course, married some Malays and became Muslims, but this was not the general trend. So the Chinese, despite the fact that they had the forces to conquer Malaysia, did not do so. That shows that there is a difference in the attitude of Europeans as against that of Asians. Of course, Japan decided to become very European, and they decided that they should establish an empire like the British or the Dutch, conquer the whole of East Asia and create the East Asian co-prosperity sphere, of course under the Japanese. But I think they had a bad beating, and Japan then decided that in their constitution they provide that Japan may not go to war. Japan has decided that war is not the way to settle the differences between nations. This is, of course, something that the Europeans should learn, that war is not a way of settling differences of conflicts between nations. Europeans love to go to war. I think you read the history of Europe for the past 3,000 years. They have always been going to war, and they have always been very good at going to war. They are the inventors of the best weapons. Of course, they were barbarians before they became civilized, and they became civilized only after the contact with the Middle East. But after they absorbed the skills and the knowledge of the Muslim people largely, because the Europeans were living in the Dark Ages, and they only acquired developed European civilization after they learned Arabic in order to find out the knowledge that was to be found in the great libraries in the Muslim world. But as to warring, whether they were civilized or not civilized, they were fond of fighting each other. And if you read the history of Europe for the past 3,000 years, there is not a year that passed where there is not a pair of them fighting each other.